A punch plate vibrating screen will be added in the end. All right. In the future, you'll be able to add more blow boxes to the end of that. Yes, prospecting is another factor. You're not running a lot of material, so you need better ground, you know. In an effort to maintain their gold mine, two young miners were losing thousands of dollars. Fuel prices were ruining their dream in the scorching Arizona heat. Then, on the broadcast, Freddy Dodge and Juan appeared with a scheme that had never been tried before. Use the sun to power everything. Could a failed mine become gold as a result of this dangerous gamble? The $12 catastrophe. Two miners, Nick and Danny, were having a terrible day in the middle of the Arizona desert. In the hopes of discovering gold, they had labored for hours in the sweltering sun, putting soil into their machine. Compared to the first test, there is a significant change here, a distinct plant. The guys now have a stronger recuperation method and greater knowledge. We'll see what transpires. It was time to find out what they received. Their hearts fell as they cleaned everything out. There was only a small amount of gold dust in their pan. To weigh it, they placed it on the scale. A depressing number appeared on the screen, 0.2 grams. That was roughly $12. $12 for a full day's labor. Freddy Dodge gave them a stern look and told them the truth. You're consuming more diesel fuel every hour than you're making gold right now, he added. Every minute that their generator ran cost them money. In front of them, their goal of becoming prosperous gold miners was dying. They appeared completely defeated. They could no longer continue in this manner. They required a miracle. Then Freddy got an idea when he was staring up at the hot, bright sun that was glaring down on them. The concept seemed like something from a science fiction film. On a gold mining show, the plan had never been attempted before. It might either be a complete humiliating failure or a magnificent success that would save them, he asked. Freddy's idea was simple but revolutionary. You have a lot of solar here, but I'm not an authority on solar. What if we installed a solar panel system that would power your entire plant without the need for gas? That isn't an issue out here, only the sun. What if we installed a system of solar panels? Your entire plant will run on solar power instead of gas. Only the sun. The noisy, costly gas generator was to be discontinued entirely. They would use the sun's clean, free energy to power everything. In order to accomplish this, they would have to construct a unique trailer that could accommodate numerous solar panels and large batteries for power storage. They would have their own portable power plant. However, that was only part of the strategy. Additionally, Freddy noticed that the miners were putting in far too much effort for far too little dirt. Their device, known as a trommel, required manual crank turning. It was tiring and slow. Freddy therefore intended to equip the trommel with a new motor. The solar panels would also power this new motor. They could wash 4 times as much filth in the same amount of time, since it would enable them to spin the trommel much more quickly. More gold is found when more dirt is cleaned away. And practically every tiny bit of gold they discovered would be pure profit because there would be no gasoline expenses. The idea sounded fantastic. Nick fortunately informed them that he already had some used solar panels at home. They would save a great deal of money that way. They had a strategy. At the moment, it takes 2 men to rotate that TR trombone drum continuously. As a result, the amount of material passing through the facility will increase by almost 80%. All they needed to do now was construct it, and they were running out of time. And to make matters worse, a new enemy was on the horizon, one that would make their work all but impossible. The wind. The team hurried to go to work after coming up with a plan. A task that should have taken 5 days was completed in roughly 3 days. Constructing the solar trailer from the ground up was the most difficult task. Freddy even acknowledged his lack of expertise in solar energy. He said, "This is my first adventure with anything over a solar panel about that big," while keeping his hands a foot apart. However, he was aware that in order to develop and advance, you must attempt new things. On top of an old trailer, they began constructing a sturdy steel structure. The large, bulky solar panels would be supported by this frame. However, the weather changed against them as they got to work. Across the desert, the wind started to howl. It was a nightmare because of how powerful the wind was. As they attempted to weld their hefty steel components, it was blowing them around. Freddy was concerned that it could be impossible to install these solar panels in this wind. If steel and angle iron are being blown around like they are, we must immediately begin welding the entire side. Okay. We can now fully weld it because we have it supported. It seems like a plan. The solar panels resembled enormous kites in their size and flatness. The crew was aware that it could be torn from their hands and shattered to pieces if the wind seized one. The job was hazardous. Everyone had to cooperate with one another. Despite the wind gusts, they painstakingly raised each hefty panel and then slowly fastened it to the trailer frame. The solar trailer was eventually constructed after a protracted and difficult battle against their invisible foe. Sitting there in the middle of the desert, it looked fantastic, like something from the future. It was a highly advanced monster that was prepared for battle. However, the crucial question remained unanswered. Would this gadget really work? It was time to turn on the switch and connect it to the plant. The moment of truth, the solar-powered payout had finally come. The team hooked up the wiring after carefully towing the new solar trailer to their gold cleaning facility. Everyone took a step back. Nick pressed the switch. There was silence for a moment. Then the whole plant came alive with a soft hum. It was functioning. The trauma began to rotate. The belt on the conveyor began to move, and the sun was the only source of electricity for it all. Their innovative equipment provided clean, silent power instead of a noisy generator engine. The new motor on the trauma was the nicest feature. The trauma was now spinning on its own and traveling at a speed of roughly 4 times that of the laborious, slow process of turning a crank. As quickly as they could, the miners were able to shovel dirt into the machine. They scrubbed more dirt in 15 minutes than they used to in an hour. It was time to find out what they had discovered after the test run. They immediately noticed a difference after cleaning the E-cell boxes. The amount of gold has increased significantly. After gathering it with care, they placed it on the scale. 0.7 g was the final weight. Even while that may not seem like much, that was almost 4 times as much gold as their failed $12 run. 7/10 of a gram, about 40th of an ounce, then. So what did we do? A gram was at 210 last time, and it is currently at 710. But the true prize was right here. They got it for nearly nothing. They didn't use any costly diesel fuel at all. From now on, any piece of gold they discovered would be nearly entirely profit. The sun wasn't merely a solution. Over the course of a season, they may earn thousands of dollars thanks to this game-changer. They were able to save their dream. For Freddy and Juan, the solar-powered wind was a significant event that demonstrated how intelligent decision-making can transform the life of a miner. These incredible success stories abound in the gold rush world. However, this globe has also witnessed some incredibly tragic and painful losses. Miners like Parker Schnobel are on the high side. He began as a teenager and has since developed into one of the world's largest gold miners, occasionally discovering more than $15 million worth of gold in a single season. Then there is the legendary Tony Beats, who purchases enormous, antiquated dredges and revives them to extract hundreds of ounces of gold. However, the show has also revealed its stars' personal misfortunes. The gold expert Freddy Dodge, who is constantly mending things for other people, had to mend his own wounded heart. To be honest, I believe we performed okay for a shot in the dark. Yes, I agree with you. The E-cell is operating smoothly. The drive system is operating smoothly. The Grizzlies are doing well. He broke the heartbreaking news a few years ago that his daughter Sam had died following a protracted fight with cancer. Losing a kid is the most agonizing pain a father can experience, and by carrying on with his efforts to commemorate her memory, Freddy displayed amazing strength. Tragic events have also befallen his partner Wanyara. His village was destroyed by a huge wildfire in California a few years ago. Both his house and the workshop where he stored all of the equipment and supplies he needed for his job were totally destroyed by the fire. Nearly all he possessed was lost. Freddy and Juan are real heroes because of their fortitude in the face of such tragic personal losses. Reality TV, however, isn't always about heroes triumphing over adversity. Big personalities and even bigger issues are at play at times. Rick Harrison, the king of the pawn shop industry, has a variety of challenges. One thing is always true, whether you're selling history, searching for gold, or unearthing treasures. Things can get nasty if there is a lot of money involved. Arguments break out. Friends can become adversaries. Families can disintegrate as well. Furthermore, Hard labor and nature aren't often the causes of the largest issues. They originate with those closest to you. Take a peek at Rick Harrison, the lead character on the popular television program Pawn Stars. You might assume that purchasing a bogus item was the worst thing he has ever experienced, but rather, his own family was the source of his greatest conflict. Rick was sued a few years ago by his own mother. She claimed that Rick assumed control of the family business and finances after his father, referred to as the old man, died, but she felt he had deceived her. Fans of the show were stunned by this family brawl. The Harrisons had always been viewed as funny and close, but behind the scenes, things were unraveling. It just serves to demonstrate how even families may turn against one another when large sums of money are involved. Everyone says that obtaining a pawn license is impossible. They are quite valuable. You know, I've heard tales ranging from $500,000 to $1 million. You must wait for someone to pass away before obtaining it from them. Well, that's incorrect. Let's go to another type of treasure now. Under the soil, there is a vibrant, wild environment in Australia. They're known as the opal fields. Brave miners, known as outback opal hunters, sift through the hot, arid terrain in search of unique stones on the show. These opals are extremely valuable and have rainbow-like brilliance. Cole's group is among the teams who have discovered individual pockets of opal valued at over $80,000. One of the most well-known opals ever is the Virgin Rainbow. It may be worth more than $1 million, according to experts, more than some homes. That is, fool. However, the hunt is never simple. Opal hunters risk everything, money, effort, and even safety in the hopes of striking it rich, just like gold miners do. Speaking of significant dangers, the story of Nick and Danny, two young gold miners, demonstrates just how difficult life can be. In the midst of the Arizona desert, they were attempting to operate a gold mine, but things weren't going well. They were making less gold than they were spending on fuel. Their aspiration to get wealthy was becoming a nightmare. At that point, two mining specialists from the television series Gold Rush, Freddy Dodge's Mine Rescue, Juan and Freddy Dodge arrived with an absurd scheme. Their goal was to construct a solar-powered gold factory. No diesel, no key. A Jenner, what if we installed a solar panel system that would power your entire factory using only the sun and no more gas? Fantastic. For us, this is somewhat of a first. And since it hasn't really been done before, I find it exciting. Dynamite. It sounded dangerous at first. Although it had never been done before, Freddy and Juan thought it may work, and it did. In addition to saving money, the solar-powered facility performed better than anyone had anticipated. After nearly giving up, Nick and Danny are now making more money than before. However, the gold wasn't even the most crucial factor. In reality, they received hope. Freddy and Juan saved two children's dreams in addition to a broken machine. This tale demonstrates that the sparkling objects in the earth aren't always the treasure. A second chance, a fresh concept, or a path forward can occasionally be the true reward. Freddy, Juan, and Solar Idea demonstrate that winning doesn't always require cash or equipment. Looking up and letting the sun do the work is all that is necessary at times. Because the largest instruments used in mining aren't generally composed of metal. They can occasionally be composed of optimism, cooperation, and creative problem solving. Are other miners simply squandering their money on fuel if solar electricity is thus simple? Share your thoughts with us. For more incredible mine rescues, like and subscribe.